it's a red flag.
What do you think about the Luigi shit? Like, what do you think it means, especially in a world that is post, like Trump won, and so more than half of the country was like, yeah, we want Trump, and then everybody was like, we also low key love Luigi as well.
Yeah. So the thing that is wild about Trump is actually related to Luigi, because if Luigi Magellan was Laron Muhammad, you know what I'm saying? If he had the Philly,
it'd be a different
Sunni beard,
it'd be different,
and Wick locks, it'd be a whole different response. Him being
if he had that little Sufi, if he had that little
Sufi,
yeah.
If you know, so like that is a big part of it, and it's still a big part of what I talk about with Trump, with how Trump won, is that at its core, white men are still the vessel through which all real action and change is going to happen. And so you kind of take the value of a Luigi yada yada when you can get it, because you don't know when it's going to come next. And at some point, not right now, because we just don't have, we're not prepared for this conversation. But at some point, we have to engage with why populism works. We know populism works, and everybody's about to get into their populism bag, including me. You know what I'm saying? And so like, and there's value there, and it's going to be one of the creator. I think he's kind of awful, but also amazing. He says we're in a political meme war, you know, and whoever has the best memes is going to win. And like, I used to laugh at that.
Big
shit.
Facts.
That shit is big facts.
I don't know why nobody understands that. Like it's marketing. Like that's what it's communication.
Yeah.
Because meme also is like it's a funny thing, but the original concept of a meme, which is still what a meme is just an idea that spreads. If your idea don't spread, if that shit don't hit, if nobody bops to it and dances to it, it's not gonna get played. That's just how everything has always for the whole history works. And I feel like a lot of sorry, we're getting back into the meta conversation. No. Please continue with the
You're right though. And so bringing it back to Luigi.
Yeah.
Because Luigi it's so fascinating. I can't wait till like more comes out. I'm not ready to make no Luigi videos or anything right now, because like I gotta get the rest of this out. Because one of the first take I had was people that do what he did never have his background, never look like him. It's always the Unabomber niggas. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, the people who do say it again?
People who do historically, not everybody, for you will actually as leftists that's gonna see this on Twitter, but generally speaking, in the modern era, people who do like unilateral random acts of violence for a political reason tend to be Timothy McVeigh, the Unabomber, school shooters. You know, so they fit a certain.
You're saying because Luigi is kind of a hot Italian.
Yeah,
is that what we're talking about? Okay,
socially applicable, moneyed Italian guy.
Yeah, he looks maxed before he went out in the streets, which is smart.
That's not a thing that happens normally. And then you look at his political outline, looks like like quasi Joe Rogan-esque. You know what I'm saying? Where he's like into kind of like the bro politics sphere, but not like quite right,
like the crypto, the techie kind of stuff.
He's a techie guy. So he's not like us, because the left was trying to claim him at first, hoping he was with us, because we all want somebody to do something, but none of us is willing to actually do the shit. And then the right, I don't know. I ain't paying enough attention to them to see what they were doing, because they don't. Really
I saw Ben Shapiro say "fuck Luigi," and his whole audience was like, his whole audience turned against him,
right?
Because he said "fuck Luigi." So
yeah. So he is a true centrist by today's standards.
He's a uniting force.
Yeah, and so like the aftermath of his story, they said that they shaved his head. I mean, they gave him a fade to protect him in jail. Did y'all see that take on Twitter?
Oh, he looked good. He glowed up in prison. Wait, but it was for protection?
Yeah, supposedly in prison culture, when you want to like mark a prisoner for being protected, that's not of the prison's world per se, you give them a certain style. So they faded him up in prison.
And that's what the prisoners did, to be like, hey, look, we know he's not of this world. We want to keep him safe, so don't touch him.
Yeah. So like this could be like on some was it Franz Ferdinand that got shot in World War I?
Yeah. Archduke.
So this could be some shit like that, where like we look at this moment and what he did as a really significant like
Yeah.
collective turning point, or it could be some bullshit white people shit. In 6 months, he can start a podcast with the hot tour girl. Like it's
Yeah. That's how they neutralize you, man. Like Charlie
it
Brooker
is.
with Black Mirror, he really is truly a fucking genius. Because that
Yeah.
episode where he had fucking Daniel Kaluuya's character become this revolutionary, and they just neutralized him by giving him a fucking podcast. Like, cool,
Yeah.
you're fine. You can talk as much anti-establishment shit.
That was the last episode of that shit I watched. I was like, I
Really?
can't watch no more. That
Oh,
hit too close to
it's
home.
so good.
And it was too good. I was like, I can't stomach whatever
It was brilliant.
about. I can't do it no more. I'm done. They got me. They got the world. This is not entertaining to me. I'm going to go play Madden and watch.
Yeah, this ain't a comedy no more. This is just a correct analysis of our world. Yeah, Luigi, I feel like they could. But another thing that trips me out is because the Unabomber, I'm surprised that kind of shit doesn't happen more. And I know Josh always says that I'm like too conspiratorial and shit like that, but I'd be right half the time, or at least 51% of the time. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like I'm surprised that this stuff doesn't happen more, because as prepared as he was, it didn't seem that difficult to do what he did. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, you have a little bit of money, you got a 3D printer, you know what somebody's schedule is, and you start, because regular people kill each other all the fucking time. Mm-hmm. Two niggas getting a fight over who's dating who, and somebody gets shot. But if you go, hey, look, I know who is the CEO of the company that allowed my grandmother to die. You know what I mean? Because she couldn't afford her insulin. I'm going to solve a fucking problem. I'm just surprised that doesn't happen more. And
that's kind of what makes this scary, why they charged him with terrorism. Because why doesn't it happen more? It doesn't happen more because of, I don't know who, I'm about to, some white bearded dude quote, the opiate of the masses type shit.
Yeah.
I think that might be Nietzsche. I don't know. Somebody. Again,
I've heard that phrase, but I don't know.
You will actually niggas on Twitter or let me know.
Is that not Marx? I don't know. Whoever.
It's one of these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And so, like, I like if let's say I'm a nigga that's just got laid off. I know they just laid a bunch of people off, right? You know what I'm saying? I just got laid off. My wife cheated on me. My dog died. Whatever. But you know what? Tomorrow it's a Bears game on, and man, we might win this motherfucker.
Right.
And that'll at least, like, so much of violence you learn in previous my previous life as a social worker and teacher. Violence prevention is really just creating a longer gap between the ideation and the opportunity. Right. And if you can create a slightly longer gap between the ideation and the opportunity, you reduce the happenstance of a violent act by like 100%.
People just get distracted, they get bored, and they say, cool.
They get bored, they rethink it. It hits them that there's consequences and that they could go to jail or they could get killed or they're actually going to hurt someone and they're not really social. They don't really want to hurt people. Like, all these things can happen with just one more beat of thought. And that's why, generally speaking, the people that actually do shit like this be really out there. They're really wild people. And so for him to be mostly normal from what we understand now, right?
Fair.
I think our last show last year was a follow-up to our Jonathan Majors show. And so it's like so much change in between the shows, we had to address it. So I don't know what's going to happen between now and the end of his trial. But right now,
who knows?
Right,
Yeah.
Who knows what's gonna come up? But
and
right
allegedly, because I seen Luigi over next door, like when he was supposedly doing all this shit. So couldn't have been him anyway.
Right. So,
but if he did do it,
whatever. If he did do it, whatever comes out in the aftermath will tell a lot. Could speak to a whole lot about like how things are changing. Because if we are getting to a point where people are more willing to take matters into their own hands, then because the thing about populism is that populism is only really effective when the like normative frameworks of communicating political ideas and like political actions fail. And they have been failing in this country for a good 40, 50 years now, right? So like you have generations of people that are like, y'all niggas are both full of shit. Nobody's changing anything. we might have to start throwing rocks. And then you have the left and the right looking each other in the eyes from across the room for the first time, and the music
and
starts
linking
playing.
up. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That
and it's like,
shit.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah, once that happens, we are in a dangerous situation. You know what I'm saying? Or not, I don't know about dangerous is the right word. Volatile.
Dangerous for somebody.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. I think it's dangerous it can be dangerous for us also, because it's just about like, where are you pointing the gun?
Right.
And everybody ain't on the same page. Like,
a lot of these motherfuckers on the right, they think if they kill the Mexicans and the trans people, they're gonna fix them. So we can't, like, we can look them in the eye from across the room, but I need to see your hands too.
Yeah. Hands on the table. Hands on the table.
At all times.
Yeah, that seems like because a thing that has kind of counterintuitively always sort of made sense to me is the school shooter shit, where I'm like, that's bad, but on paper I understand why that happens. Like, I've met people where I'm like, I could see in you how you would plan this, how you would have access to the tools, how that cool off period that you described would never come, because every day you would have refreshed motivation for your quest or whatever. So I understood that. And I'm like, yeah, if you have a family member that's just, if you're like, fuck, I can't pay for nothing, I'm living in my fucking car. I thought it was
him. I thought he fucked up his back surfing.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think it was him specifically. Like, it was his own. And I'm like, every day you get up and your back hurts, that would be another motivation. And I'm sure there are millions of people in the American healthcare system who have military training or who have just anything, and they're like, yeah, I've been fucked over by this system. And I feel like, you know what? I think it's very much a when you make God bleed situation, because we didn't have because we've been had guns in America, but until the Columbine shit popped off and someone was like, oh, you can make this is a new type of music. We didn't know you could make jazz. So now that genre exists, it's going to be a whole bunch of jazz musicians, a whole bunch of rap musicians, a whole bunch of punk, whatever. So now that it's like, oh, we can do, we don't have to shoot up a school. We can do.
I want to pause to acknowledge that. A whole bunch of jazz musicians. That shit gave me goosebumps.
It's a Christmas miracle, baby.
You gotta make a short out of that, son.
Yo, James, edit that one into a short. And so I think that there's this, what will end up happening, maybe allegedly, is people go, oh, that is a outlet for expressing our disapproval. Cool, we can vote and we get Kamala, we get Trump, shit kind of remains the same or maybe gets worse, but they're not going to address the shit that they promised. Or I can take the shit up to the top floor. Right. I can get in the elevator, go up to the penthouse and solve some shit permanently. Right. And I feel like that starts to happen.
And that's like, historically, that is a lot of revolutions. Like, some revolutions are, and like the ones, let me not put that out there, because I don't
you got to be really careful.
Yeah. This is live. Yeah.
This is live.
Yeah.
And niggas is already mad at me for voting for Kamala. You know what I'm saying? Even while I hold my nose.
Niggas as opposed to not voting?
As opposed to not voting or voting third party. So I want to be careful as I like tiptoe into like the really radical left shit. But I will say that a lot of revolutions, the bloodier revolutions, start spontaneously. They start with a nigga being like, I'm fed up, or a group of people being like, we're fed up and we about to do something about it. And once something happens, it kind of snowballs into bigger things. A powder keg of things, you know, or something happens and then the powers that be come to the table and say, all right, look, if y'all promise not to do that again, we'll give you this, you know? And so, like, that's why to safely, I can feel confidently touch on some radical shit. When niggas is riding in the streets, although I don't want people to get hurt, I don't want people's, personal property to burn down, shit like that. That is a historically useful historically, that is a useful mechanism for creating massive social change and political change, like, throughout history.
Having it as a threat, you got to have a carrot and you got to have a stick, and I feel like we don't really have either, honestly. So at least we got the stick. It's 3D printed and it's ready to go. Yeah. Exactly. We got the stick and it's got a switch on it.
It's a red flag.